and Zoo specific love. Today we're going to show you how my dad made his own backyard zip line.
I've wanted to ride on a zip line for a long time, but just never got around to it. So I decided to build one for my backyard. I first looked around for the best area and found two trees which are on a small hill. The trees are about 80 feet apart and large in diameter, which will make this location fun and sturdy. I next gathered some heavy-duty parts to keep this safe. The galvanized steel wire is 5/16 inch in diameter, which should be strong enough for my use. And to hold the wire, I'm using some 5/16 inch stainless steel U-bolts. Now to protect the trees, I constructed a simple wrap with some old carpet and 2x4s. I cut the wood to roughly 7 inches and used my router table to make a groove in the middle of each. I then laid them out and attached a strip of old carpet to the back of them with some screws. I then repeated this process so I could wrap both trees. To help minimize the riders from bumping the ground, I chose to install a cable about 10 feet up the tree, which made installing the wrap a little more dangerous. I flipped the carpet around the tree and evened it out, and then added a few nails to hold it in place. This should protect the tree from the constant rubbing of the cable. I then repeated the process on the second tree. Next up was installing the cable, which turned out to be a little more challenging than I expected. I first started with wrapping the lower tree, making sure the wire went into the wood grooves and tightening it up with the U-bolts. And during that time, my wife stretched out the rest of the cable. I then moved up the hill to the second tree, but the weather quickly changed on us and I had to wait until the next day. The next morning I used a nylon tow strap and a cable puller, also known as a come-along, to take the slack out of the hanging wire. This is a little dangerous to do on a ladder, so be very careful if you use this process. Now I've hooked up 3 of these U-bolts here. That should give it plenty of strength on this end. I've done the same on the other end too. I also have a little piece of a wire that comes back and straps to the tree right back there. So that way, as people are getting ready with the roller, they can hook a carabiner here just to have a little extra added security so they don't immediately roll down. And that way they can have a lot of fun safely. Next, I needed a braking system to keep people from hitting the bottom tree. So I grabbed some more scrap 2x4s and connected them together with 4 screws. I then drilled a hole where the 2 boards met. I then drilled a second hole through the side of the 2 boards just slightly offset. The first hole goes around the wire cable, and the second was for a heavy-duty eye-bolt. I then loosened the screws and secured it around the cable. Over time, this brake will need to be replaced from wear, and it will be easy to make another one. To secure the brake, I used a spiral ground anchor and some heavy-duty bungee type shock cord. Now for the handle, I used some 1-inch PVC pipe that I drilled on the ends and added some strong paracord. The pulley setup was a heavy-duty version I purchased on Amazon, and I will put the link to that in the description below. And it was now time for testing. Test number 1, I hope this goes well. At this point, I realized the handle was way too low and I almost dragged it across the ground. So I lifted it up and tried again. Alright, I've raised this up some, and now we're going to do test number 2. Yeah. And now, my son wanted to give it a try. Now in the process of having fun with a zip line out here, my son sometimes had an issue trying to get this handle backed up to the starting position. It was actually quite funny. I caught a little footage for you right here. So to help keep him from getting hurt trying to sling this up, we added an additional string right here just to make it a little bit easier. It hangs down a lot lower so that he can easily pull it up. Now also in the process of building this, my wife asked me to make some type of a seat so that she can sit on it and ride it down. So I took an old piece of wood I recovered from an old playground and I glued 2 layers together to give it a lot more strength. Then I drilled a hole through the center and I attached a large heavy-duty rope through the center and attached it to the carabiner. Now she can have a lot of fun going down a zip line. Now when it comes to building a zip line, I am not an expert at this. I built this to the safety standards I felt would be safe for my family to do it on my property. Now if you're planning on building a zip line, make sure you do a lot of research, find out what the standards are and what you should do to make sure that it is safe for you and your family, because you don't want anybody to get hurt. With that said, let's test out this seat. and the seat worked great. And one more thing, if you've noticed in these videos, all we're using is a ladder to go up the tree to get on the zip line, and if you're going to use that over and over again, that can be a little dangerous, especially if it ever falls. So, in the next video, I'm going to be building a short little tree platform that goes right in that location, so it's much easier to get to that zip line. You can have a lot more fun, a lot safer. Now, if you like this video, make sure you click the like button and tell us what you think about it in comments. I also have a couple other videos here that go along with our backyard upgrades, so make sure you check those out.